welcome back. Our next guest endorsed Hillary Clinton back in January. He is scheduled to speak on Wednesday night at the convention. We want to bring in former astronaut and co-founder of Americans for Responsible Solution, Mark Kelly. He is the husband to former Democratic Congresswoman Gabby Giffords. Good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me on.
First question before anything is, how is your wife doing?
She's doing great. We got in late, though, so she's still sleeping, I think.
Yeah, so she's doing okay.
Yeah.
What will be your message this week? What do you want to tell the world?
You know, we don't get a lot of time, right? There's a lot of speakers, so a very short period of time. But, you know, we're going to talk a little bit, you know, about, at least I'm going to talk a little bit about my experience in the Navy and at NASA and, you know, what we should be doing as a country. And then, as you might expect, I'll talk a little bit about gun violence and, you know, where we are and who we need to fix not only that problem, but other serious problems that this country has.
Yeah, I mean, Dagan, we've been talking about gun violence a lot, and obviously this is front and center for the American people.
And Hillary Clinton has actually left of Bernie Sanders in terms of her proposals to crack down on guns in this country. And do you back her position that there should be a waiver, that you should get rid of the liability waiver for gun manufacturers? I know that was kind of as far left as she has ever gone in terms of gun control.
Yeah, that's a distinct difference between her
right.
and Senator Sanders. And, yeah, I think so. I mean, why in this country? I mean, there's really just two things that get blanket immunity, and that's experimental pharmaceutical drugs, from what I understand, right? You assume a lot of risk. And then there's gun manufacturers that have a blanket immunity. And that's one of the reasons why, you know, we haven't increased the safety of firearms. You know, why, you know, when you look at products like cars, for instance, the death rate from car accidents goes down, and the death rate from guns does not. And, you know, one of the things you can point to is PLACA, which is that immunity.
Mark, your wife was able to relate to people in an intensely emotional way, and her story really grabbed people. I found that in this election, Hillary Clinton has really had trouble emotionally connecting with the voters. People aren't really resonating with the story. Considering what you and your wife have gone through, can you give advice to Hillary Clinton and her campaign on how she can emotionally connect with the voters in the way that Trump is?
Well, you know, I'm a military veteran and an astronaut. I might not be the most emotional person myself in trying to connect with people. And I'm not one to give, you know, that kind of advice. But you're right, you know, Gabby's really good at that. She always has been. And people do connect with her emotionally.
So how do you think Hillary can do that, given the fact that there are all these questions about her honesty and about, you know, likability?
Well, you know, I've campaigned with Hillary. Gabby has too. You know, one-on-one and with you know, people in the audience. I think she connects with them very well. This tough, you know, this is a tough business. But the contrast between Hillary and I think Donald Trump is pretty clear. I mean, Hillary being somebody who's experienced and a problem solver, and somebody who really has been campaigning on rhetoric that does not paint our country in the best possible light.
Well, I mean, you know, I know that President Obama came out and said, look, everything that Donald Trump said last week doesn't jive with reality, but, I mean, it's not exactly rainbows and puppy dogs out there. I mean, we've got another attack this morning. We continue to see, you know, ISIS fighters get stronger. What's your solution to all of this?
Hey, you know, I served in combat over Iraq, you know, during Desert Storm. You know, I have experience in that part of the world.
Thank you for your service to our great country.
You're welcome. I mean, we do have problems, and problems require thoughtful solutions. You know, they require. I think they, you know, to some extent require somebody who has experience doing this. And I think, you know, the choice is clear here in November.
But if I could just say to you, sir, I supported Jeb Bush in the primary, and for the better part of a year, we tried to make this argument that experience mattered, and it didn't work for us in the campaign. So if I think Hillary Clinton is going to be successful against him, she's going to have to emotionally connect and try something other than the experience argument. 16 Republicans running tried to say that about him, and it didn't work.
Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah.
You see that. I would not dispute that.
Well, and the danger is that the Democrats dismiss Donald Trump and just dismiss him as a shoot from the hip, blow hard, because after last week, according to the new CNN poll, he's got a 6 percentage point bump in the polls, which is the biggest bump since the year 2000.
But as you would expect after the convention, and you know, you also can't argue with the fact that he has been successful, and he's been successful for a reason. And that should not be dismissed. It should be taken very seriously.
So you think you're going to get? You think that the Democratic Party gets a bump after this convention?
I think so.
Yeah.
You know, history would say that, and you know, we'll see how things look here in September and October.
Mark, great to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Appreciate it.